Good morning my YouTube lovelies, and welcome back to the channel. And today is the day that I sort out my balance-free forks on my GSXR. Right, to start off, obviously going back to the balance-free forks, the bike, the GSXR, has to be suspended off the floor. So there's loads of different devices out there you can buy to make this job possible. But the one thing I did buy, a piece of machinery, was an ABBA stand. I've had it for some time now. This thing could take some weight, and that's the truth. That is, I mean, it's designed. I mean, you know, people on Facebook or YouTube who've seen my channel, they know I've got like a GS 1200 adventure rally. So yeah. And that weighs, you know, that weighs quite a lot, that does. And this ABBA stand will take this thing right up into the air, no problem whatsoever. So the GSXR being far, far lighter, you know, it's got no problems with that whatsoever. Now this is my GSXR. It's actually on the stand at the moment. As you can see, it's 2018. GSXR 1000R, and as you can see, those are the forks we're going to repair. Right, these will be the first tools that I use to remove the brakes, the speed sensor, and the front wheel, and the mudguard. So to start off with, we've got like a larger ratchet, a smaller ratchet. We've got a 6mm Allen key ratchet bit. We've got an 8mm Allen key ratchet bit. We've got an 8mm socket. We've got a 32mm socket for the front wheel bolt, axle bolt. We've got some electrical tape, which I shall show you that in a bit, and a pair of scissors to cut the electrical tape, and just one more thing. And a rubber mallet to give the axle just that little bit of persuasion to come out of the front wheel. If you're wondering what the aluminium rods are for, I shall show you that in just a little bit. So yes, so let's get on it. Right, first of all, we need to move the speed sensor, and that's bolted to the bottom of the forks with these two nuts. And there you are, that's free. So now to remove the brakes, and for that we'll be using the smaller ratchet with the 8mm Allen socket bit. All you got to do is pull them off, a little bit of a wiggle, nice and gentle, and there you go, and they hang free. Right, same on the opposite side, the left hand side of the bike, to remove the brakes. And she's come free. Now as you can see, the brake calipers right here, I basically used the aluminium to hook into one of the bolt holes, and to run it back and wrap it around the foot peg at the back. And basically all this is for is that when you're removing the front wheel, it's just to keep the brake calipers out of the way, so they ain't flying about and crashing into your fairing or on the wheel rims or anything like that. It's just a convenience thing. And exactly the same on the other side. Now to remove the front wheel, one of the things that I must say is the pinch bolts. There's 4 of these pinch bolts, there's 2 on each side. They obviously pinch the bottom of the forks around the axle for the front wheel. Now it's always best to keep them tight to their original torque settings, and remove the bolt first, because the bolt's torqued up quite a bit, to be fair, on the front. So to remove this, there's a possibility that when it does come loose, that the whole, if these are loosened off, the whole axle will just spin. So if you keep the pinch bolts tight, then you can just basically remove the front nut, and it'll be simple. Now, I've got this piece of electrical tape, and the reason why I have this is because although all my titanium, all my nuts and bolts are titanium, so they're very, very strong, that they've been anodised, and the colour coating ain't so strong, to be fair. So if you do obviously use a socket, which to move your bolt, the sheer pressure to remove this, the sheer force, the torque to remove this bolt, you would actually damage the coating on the titanium, or whatever bolt that you've got which has been anodised. It's the anodised coating that will get ruined, actually not the bolt. But obviously for synthetic purposes, you'd want to keep these as obviously the same as how you bought them, because they ain't cheap, to be fair. So yes, what we do is we just put one layer, because obviously any more than that, you'd have problems getting the socket on. So your anodised surface is protected. So there you go, successful nut removal from the front wheel. Right, and now the nut's off, we can remove the pinch bolts. So I'm using a smaller ratchet with the 6mm ratchet bit. Again, put them down somewhere safe. And now for the opposite side. And there we go, pinch bolt removal completed. And now with the actual axle, one of the reasons why I wanted the rubber mallet is obviously I'm going to tap this out, but I don't want to create any damage, hence it being a rubber mallet. And there you go. Now with the front axle out, the wheel is now free. So basically what I do with the ab stand is I make sure I lock off the cylinder so there's no leakage, and with the foot pedal I just lift the bike slightly. How easy was that? And now with the front wheel removed, and the brakes and everything else, we can now continue with the mudguard. Right then, the tools that I'll need for this job, which is the front mudguard, is a small ratchet, a 4mm Allen key wrench bit, and a 10mm socket. Right on the left and the right of the mudguard, you've got a 4mm dome head Allen key bolt. So first of all, we shall remove that. There you go. And one on the opposite side. And on the inside of the mudguard, there's initially 4 bolts for this. Obviously 2 have taken off, and 2 are located on the inside. So there's one here, and there's one on the opposite side. So we need to remove those as well. And one on the opposite side. Right, on the back of the mudguard, you've got a little grommet which secures the brake line to the mudguard, so that has to be removed as well. If you can see it there. So basically what it is, it's just like a little grommet which is pushed through a hole, and once it's pushed through a hole, it sort of like expands on this side, so obviously once it's in, it remains in place. So all we need to do is get a little pair of pliers, like so, just gently squash this end and pull it from the other end. And to remove the mudguard, we just give it a little bit of a squeeze inwards, not too much, just so it clears the forks nice and easily, and then you pull it towards yourself. And there you have it. Right then, the tools that we'll need to remove the inner cowlings from around the radiator to expose the bottom bracket on the forks is you need a sharp implement. Basically I'm using a Phillips screwdriver. It's basically got these little clips which you have to push the centre in, which then releases the back, and then obviously you can pull the clips out. A small ratchet, a 4mm Allen key ratchet bit, a 3mm Allen key ratchet bit, and a 10mm socket. Now on my GSXR, I do have wings left and right, which I will have to remove the inner cowlings. So that will be the first job, and again with the tools that I've just shown, again we can remove these wings with those tools. Right, these are the wings. You've got one on the left hand side, and again one on the right, like so. And let's say in there, under there you've got a 3mm Allen key dome head, and on the inside you've got a 4mm Allen key dome head. So with the small ratchet and the 3mm Allen key ratchet bit, we'll remove the 3mm dome head. Are kept together. And now with the same ratchet, but this time with the 4mm Allen key ratchet bit. And there you go. And the same on the opposite side. And I know I keep on emphasising this, but all the nuts and bolts that have been taken out of the GSXR so far, including the wings and so on, all placed somewhere safe, so obviously they don't get mixed up or lost. So yes, I mean that's all sorted. And now with the wings removed, we can now continue to remove the inner cowlings. Right, first of all, on the inner cowlings, the first one we're going to remove is this one, which is the main one from the underneath on the nose. So all you need basically is I use a Phillips screwdriver. It's relatively thin. So yes, all we do is push the centre of the clips, and they'll push in, releasing the back, and then you just pull them out. Hear the click? And then they just pull out. Now the next one is the cowling directly underneath the headstock. So we're removing that one now. Now with this, I'm using the 10mm ratchet socket. And now with the Phillips screwdriver, which I'm using to remove the clips, remove the right hand side cowling. And they just clip out. And now for the opposite side. And again, I keep all the cowlings all together with the relative pins all attached in a safe place. Hiya people. Right, now as we've removed the wings and the inner cowlings, what we need to do now in this procedure is to loosen the top clamp, the top fork clamp, and then loosen the handlebar clamp, and then loosen the lower fork clamp. And then once those clamps have been loosened, the forks then should just slide out. So I'll show you the tools that we need for that job. First of all, it's the small wrench. Then it's the 6mm Allen key wrench bit. Then we need a 12mm spanner and a permanent marker pen. Now, there's a good reason for this, which I'll explain in just a minute. Now, regarding the pen, the permanent marker pen, now basically what I've done is I've marked the nut and also marked the clamp itself and the one at the top as well. Now basically the reason for this is that there is no way that you'd be able to get a torque wrench or a ratchet or anything in there, to be fair, because obviously you've got your air intake, which is it just totally gets in the way, and you know you just need to remove it, to be fair. Now, to remove the air intakes, you've got to take the nose cone off, you've got to take the side fairings off, and to be absolutely honest, that's something I don't really want to do at this point. There's quite a bit of wiring which you have to disconnect. There's tubes, pipes, and all sorts of stuff that you have to disconnect to get it off. So the way I see it is that when I loosen these nuts, because they've only got to be loosened, there'll be a couple of turns anti-clockwise, obviously. So obviously the forks will be able to slide out, and when you tighten these up, you go a couple of turns, and as soon as the dots line up, that will give you your torque for the lower clamp. Right, and with the wrench, the small wrench, and the 6mm Allen key wrench socket, we shall remove the top clamp bolt at this side, and the handlebar clamp bolt this side. And there you go, my lovely friends. We have two balance-free forks on the bench, ready to be worked on. So absolutely pleased with that so far. So yes, fantastic. And my YouTube lovelies, this is the point where I look forward to the most. First of all, obviously with the forks off the bike, which all went really well, to be fair. Now there's a lot of tools that you need for this job, and some of them are special tools, and obviously with the special tools I will put links up, photographs, all the information you need for these particular tools to do this job. Right, I will show you now. I'll show you these tools that you need. Right then, to start off, we have a bucket, which you'll obviously need to empty the old oil out of the forks. I've got some grease. Now there is specialised grease. There's loads of different greases you can use. I've actually opted for, which I had anyway, marine grease, which is renowned anyway, which is really good. A ratchet with a 17mm socket. This is a makeshift bar that I've built out of extensions and a 30mm socket, which coincides with this tool here. This tool here is a bushing and seal remover, and I'll obviously show you how that works as we go through the process. A pair of pliers. You've got a syringe, a restraining tool, and a special tool for the inner bar. Now, when I ordered this all came in a kit. So I'll obviously put the link in for that, and you'll see how it's used as we go through the process. This tool here is a shell which goes around the bottom of the forks. and basically locks together, as you can see, with this ring, which you turn the ring and it locks it all together. It's 43mm in the diameter, which is basically to coincide with the balance free forks, which my forks are 43mm outer diameter. Basically it's for knocking in the seals. Obviously we've got the seals here, we've got the bushing spacer, we've got the dust seal, and then we've got the oil seal. This tool here is to remove the cap, the top cap on the forks. I've got my electrical tape because, like, obviously the forks are anodised, especially when you remove the cap. You need this tool to remove the cap. Now there's a little bit of force there, so there's a possibility you could damage the tops with the anodised finish on the top of the fork caps. So yes, we'll be covering them. Obviously the scissors there to cut the electrical tape. You need a 19mm spanner and a 17mm. Now, if you can see this, I've had to grind that flat, so it's a lot thinner. Now it's an old spanner, it was just in the till box, so I've had to use that. So you do need a thin spanner, because obviously when these actually are in operation, they sort of lock together like that. And obviously you can see the difference, if I can show you, in thickness. So yes, this will fit underneath on the one nut, and this will get rid of the seal unit on the top. So when they were both together, if they were both the same width, they'd both be obviously too thick for the job. So the one which is for the bottom nut, which I'll show you through the process, I ground down so it would fit. And yes, I think that's your lot to start anyway. So yes, those are the tools that you'll be requiring. Now, first things first, you've basically got a cap at the top of the fork, which has to be removed using this tool. Now, because it's my first time, there are tips and tricks of doing this, which I wasn't aware of, but it is actually best to remove this top cap. Well, loosen it off anyway while it's still in the bike. Because basically with the bike clamps, the top clamp and obviously the bottom clamps on the bike, it obviously holds this far tighter than obviously what I could do. But obviously I'd taken them off the bike, and so I've got this tool, this part tool, which I basically use to do maintenance and wash my push bike. But it's got rubber jaws, which is absolutely perfect to hold this in place. You know, obviously you don't want to be sticking this in a vise or anything like that, because simply you don't want to be marking the finish, the anodised finish on the forks. So I had this at hand anyway, so I'm using this. Obviously you can use whatever you want to use, but again, it's like I said, I mean, you're best off I'm only using this basically to take the top off, but if you take the top off when it's in situ on the bike, then you wouldn't need anything like this. It's just me, because like obviously it's my first attempt, I just didn't think. So anyway, so basically what I've done is I've feed out a couple of blocks of wood, and obviously because I don't want to damage the park tool, because I use that quite a lot for the push bike. So yeah, I've got my vice clamped to the bench. I did the wood, which obviously grips the shaft on the park tool, and obviously I use this obviously to hold on to this. So yes. Now I've read in the manual that the preload adjustment on the top of the fork, that must be turned clockwise all the way as far as it'll go to its stiffest position. So for that job you will need a Torx 50. I can get it the right way up. You know, T50 on that, and that will slot nicely in the head like that. So obviously using the ratchet, we'll turn this clockwise until it comes to a stop, and that'll be the forks in their stiffest position. Right, now with the this tool on top of the cap, if I take this off, so it's quite tight because of the tape. Now I've taped it all up so to protect the anodised surface. As you can see, it fits. It will fit really snug in there. Get it right down to the bottom. Now, because this tool's anodised as well, I've actually put some electrical tape around the top. You obviously need a 17mm socket to move this, but yes, I just wanted to protect the tool as well. So, ratchet and 17mm socket bit. And there you go. Now, as you can see, I've swapped the Park tool over for the Sealy front fork compressor clamp. Now, I will put a link on this video about this tool. Now, it's ever so cool. It's got a little shaft at the bottom, which basically fits in the hole at the bottom of your forks. So this basically fits through there like that. You drop the forks down. Now, as you can see, if I turn this round, you got a hole there and a hole on the opposite side, so it's straight through. So basically what you need to do with it on the tool is bring these forward. So now they're actually just inside each side of that hole. Right, now once everything's in place, both of the holding screws are in place with the little cutouts inside the holes. The fork central, it's firmly on the bottom, resting on that shaft which went through the hole at the bottom of the forks, so it's not going to go anywhere now. So basically what we need to do is that, you see this this shaft up here, we need a 17mm ratchet socket and a ratchet, and we're going to turn this clockwise. So basically what this is going to do is going to lower the frame, which then lowers this tube, and this tube is resting against the spring inside the forks. Now we have to compress this down, so initially when it's down far enough we can pull this up, and there's a little nut which is it's like a locking nut which is holding all this together, and once you pull this up, that locking nut will protrude above this plastic rim, and then with this tool we place that underneath the nut, and then we can unscrew this and take it off. So I'll show you that now. Now with this tool, once you pull this up, it goes underneath the nut like so, and then that can rest. Right, and now with the 17mm, which I've ground down, and the 19mm, we can now remove this part. So basically one of the reasons why I said I had to grind down the 17mm spanner is because that needs to fit under there, like so, and obviously the 19mm spanner fits on there like that. and that part just comes off like that. Now, we've got a bar, you can see that. Now this fits on top of there. This actually came in with that kit I mentioned earlier when I showed you the tools. Now that fits on top of there like so. Now that allows us, with that top cap mechanism off, to be able to lift this up, remove the tool, and gently let the inner bar slide down like that. And then once that's down, you can remove the tool like that. And now we can uncompress, going anti-clockwise, and there you go. Now with this tube now loose and it's in its resting position, there's no tension on the spring. I mean, I can move this tube around now. We can remove the bolts, take the cap off the top of the inner tube, put it down somewhere safe, and then supporting the bottom of the fork, we can remove the fork from the sealy tool. Now into the bowl, we can remove the oil. Absolutely sorted. And now with all the oil, fork oil removed, we can now split the inner tube from the outer tube, and it will just pull out like so. Right, with the outer tube, which you see here, if you look inside there, there's still elements of oil. So what I do is I usually need to get some paper towels, just give the inside a bit of a wipe, just to get rid of some of that oil, like so. Now with a pair of pliers, what we need to do now is this dust seal needs to come out. Obviously we'll be disposing of that because we've got new ones, so there's no easy way of doing this, really, to be fair. So basically all I do is get the pliers and gently persuade it out. You've got a retaining ring which basically fits inside a recess, and basically we need to get rid of that. We need to take that out. Well, we'll be keeping that, by the way. So basically what I do is I get a small thin screwdriver and I just ease it out. As like I said, we'll be keeping this. Right, and now this tool comes into play. Now this basically removes the spacer bushing and all the seal, the old seal, from inside the outer tube. Now basically you see where you've got like a flange. Now that flange fits behind that recess there. So basically when it's tightened up, those flanges fit into there, and then you bang it from the back and it forces all this out And that's basically the tool in place. You place the tool inside the inner diameter of the tube, and you open it up, obviously turning this clockwise. It then hooks up behind that bushing, space bushing that I told you about, and now the thing won't move, which is exactly what you want. So it's hooked onto the back of that bushing. So obviously from the other side, you will stick a tube or a pipe or a bar or a long piece of wood behind there, and you'll be using a hammer, and you will be tapping them out, which I will show you now. So I made this, I put together this bar, and basically what it consists of is a 30mm socket and two various extension bars, like so. Now basically with that tool in place on the inside of the outer tube, this part here will basically bang against the head of that tool, initially tapping, well, forcing the old seal and the spacer bushing outside the forks. So as you can see, with the tool in place, we'll be putting the 30mm socket and extension bars down there. You can see, nice and gently. Until it comes to a stop. Now that's resting on that tool at the bottom, which is hooked on to that spacer bushing. And basically all you do is give it a tap, and that will force all the old seal, the oil seal and the bushing out of the inside of the outer tube. And like I said, this is the perfect example, so it's like, this is a perfect time, should I say, where I can show you this. So basically that tool that I mentioned fits on the inside of the tube. Now you remember the recess, the flanges I told you about? Now there's the flange right there that fits against the spacer bushing on the inside of the fork. Now when you tap it from this side, which is obviously inside the fork, it pushes the spacer bushing onto the small washer there, which then that washer is against the old seal, and with the force which you bang down from the inside, it just basically pushes the whole thing out from the bottom of the forks, which you saw. I know it seems a little bit brutal, but it really does the job, and that's all the stuff. Now the old oil seal I'll be throwing away, and the old spacer bushing, which I'll be throwing away, but the washer I'll be keeping. And now basically we're ready to put on the fork seals, the oil seal, sorry, and the new bushings and the dust cover. So basically what it is with this, you can, and you know it's rare to be fair, but you can get sharp edges around the inner tube, and basically to combat this you can use there's a couple of things that you can do. You can use a plastic bag to act like, I suppose, a condom, which you can put over the top. So obviously the seals are going to be fitting over this and going down to the bottom, obviously in a specific order. And the last thing you want to do is, when you're putting these seals on, is obviously to catch it on a sharp bit of metal or anything like that, because then it'll be a complete waste of time, and by the time you put all this together and put them on the bike and all that sort of stuff, you've accumulated another oil leak. So what I do, again, with my piece of electrical tape, and get a nice smooth surface. Right, first thing that'll go on will be the dust seal, spanking brand new, and we'll just give it a little bit of grease. Right, that's number 1. And then our restraining ring, that'll be number 2. So that goes over the top and rests against the dust seal. And then we get our oil seal. Now, do you remember what I said before about the little dots? If you can see them there, one there, one there, one there, one there, all the way around these little dots. If you can see those, the little stamps. Well, these stamps will be facing down. All the way to the bottom. Right, the next thing will be this washer. Now again, like I said, you see that little line which goes all the way around the little recess? That'll go to the top, and it's the flat of the washer which will fit against the oil seal. So that'll go on there. So that's next, all the way down to the bottom. And the next thing will be the spacer bushing. And that's the last, that'll be the last thing to go on. And that goes all the way down on top of the washer, like that. And then we can remove this now. Happy days. Inside the outer tube, where all the old spacer bushing and the old oil seals came out, we need to put a little bit of grease all on the inside of that. There you go. I smear a little bit of grease on the bushing and just around the new oil seal. It's just to help it basically go inside the outer tube. And then we get the outer tube, and then we replace that. Over the top. Like so. Now, the new oil seal, the washer and the spacer bushing has gone inside, and as you can see on this side you've got your dust seal which we put down the bottom, and your retaining clip, and we'll put that down to the bottom. Now, the next part of this, obviously we've got to seat in the new oil seal and the spacer bushing and the washer. Now, that's where this till comes into play. And basically what it is that this fits around the bottom of the forks, like so, and then you just turn the blue ring and it locks it all together. And basically what it is that this part here forces the oil seal and the spacer bushing into place, and I will show you how to fit this and obviously how to use it. Now, it is a little bit brutal because you're going up and down the forks and you're banging these seals in with this tool, but believe me, there won't be any damage caused because the tolerances are perfect around the outer diameter of the tube. And obviously this part that actually hits the oil seal it hits it square all the time, pushing the seal into its recess, as well as the spacer bushing and obviously the washer. So yes, I shall show you how to use that now. So basically, this fits onto one side of the fork, like so, and then the other side exactly the same, and joins them together. And then once they're joined together, you turn the ring and they're locked in place. And that'll be basically turned upside down now, and you'll be basically using this to force the seal and the spacer bushing into place. So we shall sort that now. Right then, by putting the cap side of the fork, outer fork, onto the floor on the cloth, you want something like a carpet or rubber or a piece of wood even, so you don't damage the cap side of the outer fork. Because basically what it is, using this tool will hold the clip, and I think the dust cap is quite tight up there, so that's not going to come down. But this ring might, as you can see, it's quite loose. So you hold that all together like so, and then you use this tool, and basically you bang down. Now, if you was ever wondering how far you have to knock the new oil seal in, if you look at this oil seal, the black ring inside the outer fork, now if you look just above it, it's like a recess. Now as long as that seal is below the recess, then that is well and truly seated down, because that recess, that clip, that restraining clip, fits into there. So that's what we'll be doing now. Right, now we're fitting this, we're fitting the clip. So what we're going to do is squeeze it in like so. And then by using a screwdriver, just make sure it goes down. Making sure it's in the recess. Obviously not being very careful, being careful not to damage the seal. Let's put some grease all the way around. It's only to help it slide in. And there you go. Right then, after putting the obviously the new oil seal and the dust cap on, and the retaining ring, and obviously the spacer busher, now we can put the spring in. Now we'll give the spring a bit of a wipe. And that fits in over the top. So basically, looking down there with the torch, the holes are just above the level of the spring. So with the oil in the jug, if I pour the oil into there, right, it's just above the spring, so we'll put a little bit more in just to make sure, like so. Now I've got to lift this fork up and down about 10 times, sort of those lines, basically to get rid of any bubbles. And you don't want to be lifting this too high. So from the bottom of the fork, you want to be coming up about 140 mil, 140 mil. It's just over 5 inches. So any further than that, you will get the outer fork to come over the holes, and if that happens, then the oil will just rush out. It will just rush out all over the floor. So if you keep it about 5 inches, come up 5 inches down, come up 5 inches down, come up 5 inches down, stay below the holes, keep the holes within the inner tube, the outer tube. You know, obviously keep the holes within the oil seals, and then all you got to do is go up and down about 10 times, and that should get rid of any air bubbles and so on. So we shall do that now. So yes, that's absolutely fine. Right, that's it for the torch. Right, now to get our level correct on the inside of the forks, that's where this tool comes into play. Now, put the tube inside the fork. That's a little bit awkward. Hold it down flat against the top of the fork, and then use the syringe to draw out any excess oil. There you go. Just keep it steady. There you go. Now I'm drawing air. There you go. Now that should tell me that the level inside the fork, right, is the correct level for the oil. And that's how much oil I was over. Now with that amount of oil taken out of the fork, now that leaves the correct amount of oil inside the fork. That's what this tool was for. Very handy. Now with the oil inside the fork, we take this special tool, we place it as before on that centre bar thread. We thread it in, not too tight. Then we take the bar that came out when we got rid of the oil. Give that a wipe. We replace the cap at the top. Give that a wipe. And then we put this into the fork. Now we use the restraint tool. We lift up the inner tube, like so. Then remove the tube. Now the top of the fork, which you took off in the beginning, needs to be screwed back down. absolutely sorted. And now we bring the outer tube up to the top of this, like so. Then we get our tool. Voila! Right, now all the fork seals and oil and all the forks have been put back together. Now we can start to put them back on the bike, and I will show you the tools that I'll be using to do that process. Right then, to start off, we'll be needing a 12mm spanner. That will be for the bottom bracket, a small wrench, a 6mm Allen key socket, a 17mm socket, the special tool that I use to take off the top caps of the forks, which obviously we'll be using to put the caps back on, and then we'll be torquing those up. A Torx 50. That's for the preset on top of the forks. A small screwdriver for the setting on the bottom of the forks, which is those there. And a torque wrench. Right, we shall start inserting the left-hand fork first, straight up through the opening on the bottom bracket. And now with the left-hand fork nipped up, not fully tightened, just nipped up to hold it steady. Now we shall put the right-hand fork in, and just do the same with that, nip it up. Now the height of the fork from the top face of the top bracket. So from that face there, and you see where the top cap, this top cap here, has been screwed on, and then you get the bottom of the cap, and you've got a line right there where the join is. Well, from that point there to that face there, it needs to be 16.3mm. And now we do the same for the other side. Spot on, that is. Right, and now with the height set, what I do now to keep that height is I bring up these the handlebars, which are obviously on a clamp, and there's the nut there. So if I drop them down a touch, you'll see a little grommet. So I get some focus, get me screwdriver so I can act as a pointer. There's a little grommet there, you can see it sticking out there. Now that just pushes up into a hole in the top bracket. Right, and now for the bottom clamp. Remember what I said about the dots that I put on the clamp and on the nut? Now I'm going to tighten these up, these two nuts, and once those dots line up, then we should have our correct torque settings from the original. Now if you can see that, if I can get my screwdriver in there, there you go. The dot on the bottom clamp lines up with the dot on the nut, and same with the one at the top. They both line up. So I'd say that's more than adequately tight. Right, and like before, we get some electrical tape. We go around the top caps. This only to protect the anodised coating on the top of the forks, and the same with the other side. And then we can remove the electrical tape. So yes, absolutely sorted. With the forks in place, with the wings in place, within the cowling in place, now we can go ahead and obviously replace the fender, the front mudguard, and the front wheel and the brakes. So we'll get on that now. And one more thing before we finish with the fender. There's this grommet which fits on the back up here, and that's important as well, so we'll be fitting that now. Right now, with the front mudguard in place, we can now install the front wheel and the brakes. Right, first of all, we'll just be applying a bit of grease to the inside of the wheel. And on the right hand side of the wheel, it's really important that you've got a spacer. Just make sure that's installed into the right side of the wheel before obviously you install the wheel. One thing I do need to mention, which is extremely important obviously for the front wheel, you've got a little marker on the tyre. They're on all tyres, and basically this gives you the rotation of the wheel when it's installed onto the bike. So obviously we're going clockwise on this, obviously forward motion. So make sure that the tyre shows this marking and it's in the right position, obviously before you fit your front wheel. Very important, that is. Right, I also tend to give the axle just a bit of a grease to help obviously put it into the bike. Right then, now by using the Abberjack, we can lower the bike so the front wheel lines up with the axle bolt. And there you go, straight through. Now from the hex side, which is the left-hand side of the bike. When I say left and right on the bike, I mean it's actually judged by when you actually sat on the bike. So this would be your left-hand side when you sat on the bike. So on the left-hand side you've got your hex inlet, and then obviously with the tool that I made for this job, we slap that inside like so. And then with the 24mm socket and the wrench, we just apply that like so. Basically it's just to stop the axle spinning. Now on the opposite side, we've got our axle nut, which we apply. Now this isn't going to be permanently tightened up. It doesn't have to be torqued. It's only temporarily tightened, because before we tighten this up, we've obviously got to fit our calipers. Right, to install the front brakes, just give the mounting faces a bit of a wipe, both on the forks and on the calipers themselves. Remove the aluminium wire, like so. You won't be needing that again. To install your thread lock, again, it's non-permanent. And now it's exactly the same for the other side. Right, we install the tool that I made into the hex cavity, and with the Reinstalling 24mm socket, place that in like so. And on the opposite side, we've got our large torque wrench. Right, and now we fit the pinch bolts. It's these, which basically fit in there. Now we fit the pinch bolts just to the right hand side fork, and then we tighten the pinch bolts up. Little bit of thread lock, only a bit. And now, before we install the pinch bolts on the left-hand side of the bike, we've got to remove it from the arbor stand, and we've got to push down on the forks 4 or 5 times to make sure that the axle bolt is seated in. Now, with the GSXR on the rear paddock stand, we can now press in the front brake and bounce the front forks 4 or 5 times to seat in the front axle. Right, now we can go ahead and fit the pinch bolts to the left hand side fork. So first of all, we give the sensor a bit of a clean. There's no dirt on there, like so. And then we install the first bolt, like so. Then we install the speed sensor, like so. And now at 5.5, make sure I've got the thing going the right way. And that's the speed sensor installed. Right then, my lovelies, the second part, sorry, the second from last part of this whole process. Now basically it's down to fork settings. Now it's very important that you set the left hand fork to these settings, and then the right hand fork is done exactly the same. Both forks have got to be done identical. So the settings that I've got for the fork rebound adjustment and stiffness and all the other bits is a factory setting. It's not set for any particular weight or anything like that. It's a setting which is basically applied to the bike from new, so basically from the showroom, from the factory. Right, so basically what it is that when we was fixing the seal repair, to remove the cap, we had to adjust these clockwise all the way to its stiffest position. So now basically to get the correct settings, we have to turn this dial now anti-clockwise all the way around on there until it stops. So basically that'll be in its softest position. Now I don't know if you can see that, but I've just put a little mark with a pencil, one there and one on the part that rotates, to give me some reference on how many turns that I need to make. Now don't use a marker pen or permanent marker or anything like that, because obviously you don't want that on your forks. But yeah, just something like a pencil, just a little mark, just as a reference so you can wipe it off afterwards. Right, so on the top here you need to be able to go 7 rotations clockwise, and then 3/4. So we'll put the torques in. And you want to be able to do that on both forks exactly. Right then, on the bottom, a suspension adjustment. Basically what we need is this one. You need to turn clockwise all the way to its stiffest position. Like so, and the same with this one. To its stiffest position. Now on this one we go counterclockwise 2.5. That's half. That's 1, 1.5. 2, 2.5, and on this one we need 3, so half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. And that's your lot. And that procedure should be replicated on the other fork, exactly the same. And now with all the suspension set up from factory, all the nuts and bolts properly torqued, tightened up. Obviously if you want to give them a check all the way around, then, which I did, then please do so. Now I said on the fork suspension setup that it was the second from last. Now the only thing that's basically left to do is take her out for a ride. Let's see how we go. Right then, my YouTube lovelies. This is the last part of this process. Is obviously checking out my new fork seals as on the road on the bike. I'm not being funny, but I know they mentioned things about, you know, how like suspension settings and all that sort of stuff are really really important. But for some reason this thing feels so much different. Slightly stiffer. Feels good though. But yeah, no worries. Santa said she feels good. So we're going to go over to Prisley, onto the M54, down towards Wellington, around Wellington, back up the M54 to Prisley Lake, and then it's like I said, we'll do some measurements. But yep, so far so good. Hey, we're in front of a Sunday driver. Not anymore. Right then, my lovely people, I've taken the bike out on a bit of a blast and I've got to be absolutely honest, she feels absolutely amazing. So we're going to go through a few bits and pieces, like the height of the top of the forks, make sure there's no leaks, and once that's all been verified, then that's the process well and truly done. But as you can probably see, I'm really pleased with that. I really am, honestly. She feels really good. I don't know what else to say about that, I tell you, absolutely rocking. So as you can see from the measurements, if you can see that, it's from where the top cap joins the top of the forks. So basically we're looking at that line there. It was I'm going to say 16 mil. It was just a tad over 16 mil, and it hasn't moved. Let's get it right on there. It hasn't moved at all, so that's absolutely spot on. I'll check the other side. I can get this right. And again, it hasn't moved a bean, it hasn't moved anything, so that's absolutely spot on, that is. So I'm well pleased with that. The forks. This is the fork that was leaking. Absolutely nothing at all. I took obviously the footage from the GoPro. There'll be that footage as well in this video once I've edited it all. And as you can see, there's nothing there. Absolutely nothing at all. So the fork seal is absolutely fantastic on that. Going to the opposite side, nothing at all. It's absolutely fantastic. No leaking, no nothing. So what can I say? I'm totally pleased with the whole thing. I really am. So my friends, as far as I'm concerned, the process from beginning to end on this video has totally worked for me, and considering that was my very first time doing especially balance-free forks, I'm really pleased with the results on that. Now I'm going to be absolutely honest, before I started this project, this fork seal repair, I did a lot of I looked at a lot of information, a lot of studying on a lot of the bits and pieces that I'd need, the tools that I'd need. The settings, the torque on all the bolts are so important. Torque settings, they're there for a reason. They exist for a reason. So if you ever decide to attempt anything on your bikes, do a lot of research, get a lot of information. It's really important that you get the jobs right, because at the end of the day, if you don't, the next video you'll be making is from, well, A&E, and you don't want that. So do the studying before you undertake anything on your own bike. Get a lot of advice, get a lot of information off the internet. Even get like a Haynes manual, which Haynes manuals will probably give you all the torque settings that you need. And so obviously when you do a repair like this, you'll feel a lot more confident. So yes, anyway, back to my GSXR and back to me. Really pleased with the result. The bike feels absolutely amazing. She feels great. She's stiff at the front. You can tell as soon as you hit the front brakes. The settings worked out perfect. All the torque settings I rechecked before I took the bike out, and it was all spot on. So the bike's all back together, and smiley. I'm really pleased with the result. So yes, anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you've enjoyed the video, because obviously this will be the end of the video. But yes, I know to anybody out there who's undertaking anything on their motorbikes, undertaking the same sort of job that I've just done, I truly hope this video helps. I've tried not to miss anything. It's like I said, it's my first time as well, so it was a perfect opportunity to make this video. So if I made a mistake and I didn't do the research properly, then what can I say? It's me that's going to go down the road and end up in A&E in it. So yeah, but everything's worked out absolutely fantastic. Always double check everything that you do, and it's like I said, research the information that you need to undertake any sort of mechanical issue project on your bike. Okay, so yes, very important. Right then, you all take care now, you hear? And thank you so much for watching my video. See you soon.